Good morning, girls. This is Dr. Kiran Deswal, Assistant Professor English, Baba Gangadas Government Girls College, Shapura. Today, in this video lecture, I will teach you this story, The Shroud, composed by Munshi Premchand. Munshi Premchand wrote poetry, novels, and short stories in Hindi and Urdu. Among his most famous works are Gaban, Godan, and Rangbhumi. Let us talk about this story. The Shroud. It is a translated story in Hindi. This story is written with the title Kafan. Shroud means kafan, the cloth which we cover the dead body after death. The Shroud places before the reader two of the most unappealing characters to be found in fiction, Ghisu and Madhav, a father and son, who are poor and lazy, uncaring about their own welfare as well as that of their family. In this case, Madhav's wife Budhia, who when the story starts is in the throes of labor with no help at hand. Let me tell you, in this story we have three characters. Ghisu, Ghisu is the father and Madhav is the son, and Budhya is the wife of Madhav. So Budhya is suffering from labor pain, but she receives no help at all. It is a rural area, there is no medical facility, and they cannot afford medical facilities, so she is just suffering. As the story unfolds, the reader is told about the way of life of these characters, marked by poverty, hunger, and want, yet also by a determination to do as little work as possible to get by. So, this is a story of poor farmers, poor villagers who live in a village. They live in their hut, and when the story begins, they are sitting in front of the hut. At the door of their hut, father, that means Gisu, and son, it is Madhav, sat silently beside dead fire, while inside the son's young wife, inside the hut, who is crying, Budhya. Budhya is Madhav's wife. Budhya was thrashing about in the agony of childbirth. She is suffering from labor pains. She is about to give birth to a child. From time to time, so she is screaming, she is crying. She would let out such a piercing scream that both would get startled. It is terrible, and both father and son got terrified while listening it. It was a winter night. It is winter season, and nature slept under a heavy blanket of silence. Here we have simile. At night time, it seems like nature has slept under a heavy blanket of silence. It is winter time, and in winter we cover ourselves with blankets. So Premchand uh, says that nature is also lying under the heavy blanket of silence. There is silence everywhere, and at night time, when there is silence prevalent in the atmosphere, the voices can be heard loudly. That's why the screaming of Budhya is loud. The entire village lay submerged beneath a spell of darkness. Everywhere there is darkness. It seems she is not likely to make it. You have spent the whole day running to and fro. Just go in and have another look, Gisu said. Gisu says to his son that you should look after your wife. She is suffering. You should go inside the hut and have a look. What is happening? Whether she needs any help, you should find out. Madhav answered in an irritated tone, but Madhav is not responsible. He's a irresponsible guy. So he says that if she has to die, why doesn't she get it over and done with? He says that I don't care if she dies. If she has to die, let her die. What can I do by looking at her? What can I do? I'm not a doctor. What can I do by looking at her? You are a heartless fellow. His father says that you are a heartless life partner. You are a heartless husband. Such infidelity to someone you lived with for a whole year. You don't have any sympathy, any care, any love, affection, worry for the woman whom you have lived for a whole year. I can't see her writhing and thrashing about. They belong to a family of Chamar. They are lower caste people, the lowest among the untouchable caste. Since their caste dealt with animal hides, they do the work of animal hides, and these two had earned a particularly bad name for themselves. No one regards them as good because they are seeker, they are lazy. In the entire village, they are notorious for not doing anything. Gizu was notorious for working for 1 day and taking off for 3 days. Means in 4 days he works only for 1 day. So he is the most lazy person in the whole village. And you know that lazy people cannot get respect or fame. Madhav was such a seeker. Seeker means he don't want to do any work. That if he worked for half an hour, he would stop and smoke his pipe for an hour. So both father and son are lazy. So the two of them seldom found work, and we know that they work as laborer, and no one want to hire lazy people for their work. So they scarcely or hardly get any work. If they had even a handful of grain in the house, they would swear off work. They don't worry for the tomorrow, they don't worry for the future, they don't want to go until and unless uh, they find out that there is no grain in the house to eat. So now we have to go on work. A couple of days starvation would induce Gisu to climb a tree and break off some twigs of firewood, which Madhav would sell in the market. After this, the two would loiter about for as long as the money would last. So they just do earn and spend it. They just do earn and eat it. No saving, no worry for work, no care for future. They are carefree person, they are careless persons. There was no dearth of work in the village. It was a village of landlords. There was used land, and there was no want of work. If they want to work, they can be hired by many people, but they were lazy, so they don't want to do any work. It was a village of farmers, and for a hard-working man, there were any number of works to be done. But these two were called only when one was willing to be satisfied by getting one man's work out of the two. If these two had been a pair of wandering anchorites, they would have had no call to practice contentment and fortitude, restraint and regulation. It was their nature, it was their behavior, it came naturally to them. They became habitual of it. Theirs was indeed a strange life. They were living a very, very strange life. Their home could boast of no other worldly possession beside a pair of clay pots. As we know that they are lazy, they don't want to do any work. In fact, they don't do any work. So how can they buy or possess household equipments? So there was nothing in their house except a pair of clay pots. They covered the nakedness of their bodies with a few tattered rags. They don't have good clothes and went on with the business of living. They were just living. Their lives were free of all worldly cares. They don't have any care. They were really careless people. They were really careless. They were steeped under debt. People they borrow money from people and never returned it. But so people got angry and they heaped abuses on them, even beat them. This was their condition. They were beaten many times by the people, but they were without a care in the world. Still they were careless. They were so poor that no one could expect to have their money back. So people stopped lending them money. Yet people would occasionally lend them a little something, but it was a village of farmers, and farmers are genuine and human. So out of kindness, if someone lend them money, just in the hope that it will not be returned by them, they would steal some potatoes or peas from someone's fields and roast them, or pluck half a dozen sugarcane to suck at night. Gisu had led this happy-go-lucky existence for 60 years, and Madhav, like a dutiful son, was following in his father's footsteps. And if anything, he was giving an extra sign to his father's name. By doing this, he was just giving an extra shine to his father's name. He was just following the footsteps of his father, of his lazy father. In fact, we can say that they were just doing nothing, they were just living since 60 years. And the two of them now sat before the fire. So it was their story, it was about their life in a flashback. And now the writer has returned to the present scenario, the present scene, which is the two of them are sitting before the fire in front of their hut, roasting potatoes, which they might have stolen from someone's field. They had earlier dug up from someone's field. Gisu's wife had died a long time ago. Madhav is motherless child. Gisu's wife means his mother had died a long time ago. Madhav had got married last year. Last year, Madhav got married. Ever since his wife had entered their house, the day when Budhya entered the house, she had established some kind of order in their disordered life. She maintained the house, she made their lives ordered, and strived to stroke the bellies of these two shameless wretches. The writer Munshi Premchand is not afraid of saying these creatures shameless wretches, because they were living on the mercy of Madhav's wife. So Madhav's wife is hardworking, she works very hard, she strives to stroke the bellies of these two shameless wretches. With her arrival, the father and son had become more slothful than ever, but they have become more lazy and cocky too. To boot, if someone wanted to hire them for some work, they would boldly ask for double the normal wages. And this same woman now lay dying, the woman who starved, who struggled, who worked hard to fill their bellies. She is now dying. She is in help. She is crying for help in the agony of childbirth. And these two were probably waiting for her to die so that they could go to sleep in peace and quiet. So it is very very same, it is very very shameful. Gisu dug out another potato and spoke while peeling it. Go and see how she is. Must be under the spell of some sea devil. Here we have superstitions which were prevalent at that time in villages. What else? If we call the village exorcist, he won't ask for less than a rupee, and they don't have any rupee. Madhav was afraid that if he went inside the hut, Gisu would finish off most of the potatoes. So he said, I'm scared of going in there. What are you afraid of? I will be right here. Why don't you go inside and see her? Oh, when my wife died, I didn't move from her side for 3 days. Again, the father is lying, and just think, she would be ashamed if I saw her. She is my daughter in law, and if I saw her lying like that, wouldn't she be ashamed? I have never even seen her face behind the veil. So, how can I now see her uncovered body? She remains in Parda before me. How can I help her in this situation? She would be in no condition to cover her modesty. If she were to see me, she won't be able to thrash about freely. I have been thinking, what will happen if there is a baby? It is also a problem for Madhav. So, let us, uh, everything will be taken care of. Don't worry. I will take care of everything. May the good Lord give us a baby. The same people who now refuse to give us even one paisa will call us tomorrow to give us rupees. I had 9 sons and there were never anything in the house, but each time God saw us through somehow or the other. He lets everything on God. He leaves everything on God. Thanks for watching.